If you didn't know, Star Wars Battlefront 2 was supposed to be an apology from Electronic Arts for Star Wars Battlefront 1 that was rushed and came in 2015. And well, we know how that's gone so far.
Y'all got a bunch of motherfuckers mad right now, and I'm one of them. Fix this shit, man. What the f is going on, EA?
Unfortunately, like the beloved 2 Battlefront games by Pandemic Studios that came over a decade ago, we just may never see a Star Wars Battlefront 3, which to be honest at this point with EA, I really don't think many players are going to be disappointed by that news. But if you are unaware, EA has a deal in place with Disney to make Star Wars games. This deal began in May of 2013 and gives EA the exclusive rights of this franchise. Pretty much only Disney can make some small, crappy mobile Star Wars titles, and every other game will come from Electronic Arts. Since this deal began, we've gotten Star Wars Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. The next title that was supposed to be coming sometime later this year or in early 2019 was Visceral Games' Project Ragtag, but in October of 2017, Visceral Games was shut down, and their linear Uncharted-like Star Wars game was cancelled. Reports that have followed in the coming weeks and months have indicated that this Star Wars game has pretty much been scrapped. The reason? Well, EA stated this was not what fans wanted. EA CFO Blake Jorgensen specifically saying, as we kept reviewing the game, it continued to look like a much more linear game, which people don't like as much today as they did 5 years ago or 10 years ago. He would further add that they realized the game wouldn't make enough money or sell enough copies, so they decided to pull the plug. As EA has stated, some of the assets and things will be retained, but most of all, the vision of this game is dead, and Electronic Arts has confirmed that they're turning this into a games as service. Now, the most important thing to know right now is that EA holds this Star Wars license for reportedly 10 years, so they still have until 2023 the privilege to make Star Wars games. Today I want to really go over what's next and if there is any hope for these upcoming games.
Your Highness, the transmission we received. What is it they've sent us?
Hope.
Recently purchased Respawn Entertainment, developers of the Titanfall series, have been working on their very own Star Wars game for quite some time now, a game that they themselves, before being purchased by EA, presented to them. For the most part, Respawn has said everything you want to hear. The game was announced on May 4th, 2016 and was described as a third-person action-adventure title. The game's director Stig Asmussen, who is best known for being the director of God of War 3, announced the project with a long letter that stated his promise to pay respect to the Star Wars legacy at all times, a fact that will be constantly reinforced and honored as a central game design tenet. He also said that while they cannot reveal much about this game yet, his team has an unparalleled playground to design within, and that they are going to bring a whole new experience to the galaxy. Furthermore, in late 2016, Vince Zampella gave us a better idea of how this will differentiate from their past work, saying in an interview with Glixel, quote-unquote, "I would sacrifice visual fidelity for gameplay experience. It has to feel good, it has to play right, it has to be fun. It doesn't matter if it's in first person, the Star Wars game is a third-person action game. It's going to be much more about the character and their experience. You can see them and identify with them a little differently than you can in a first-person game where it's all about seeing it through your own eyes. But it still has to be about feel and fun." Our first and only glimpse of this game thus far came from EA's small 3-minute Star Wars video that was shown at E3 2016, giving insight to each Star Wars game's progress. What was shown for Respawn was a short clip that only was a few seconds long, but it featured a lightsaber battle and also some prequel music in the background, only for this clip. Take a quick listen.
As a studio, our promise to gamers is ultimately gameplay first. We all demand that the game has these huge wow moments that translates really well into the Star Wars universe. We're going to deliver that Star Wars awe like fans have never seen before.
The main issue I really have is EA's ownership of Respawn now. With Blake Jorgensen's recent comments on linear games and Visceral's project being scrapped, this very likely could be another multiplayer-focused game, and it probably will be. I'd imagine it quite possibly may just be an MMORPG, which isn't necessarily bad, but with EA always trying to add a monetization scheme in each of their games, this has me nervous. It's great to see that Respawn is dedicated to making a great Star Wars game, but DICE was as well, and we know how that's turned out. EA's business business plan and manipulation is what ruined Battlefront 2, and this publisher has showed us time and time again that they only care about the money, which is at the root of their problems. Besides just Respawn's Star Wars title, there are a lot of other question marks. BioWare continues work on Star Wars The Old Republic with new content coming on a near annual basis, and we have yet to receive signs that they are working on a new Star Wars game, at least yet. DICE is currently still working on Battlefront 2, and once that game is past them, maybe they give Battlefront 3 a try, but at this point, maybe it's best that this series just dies off for now. Eventually though, it's bound to happen that DICE makes another Star Wars multiplayer-focused game. EA Vancouver and EA Worldwide Studios are now working on a revamped version of Visceral's original Star Wars project, but this game, whenever it does come, will not be what Amy Hennig was creating, and that's a shame. For the most part, this is the future of Star Wars games, and if you feel a little disappointed, well, you should be, because EA has made it clear that they follow the money, which they believe is in multiplayer games as service. They are clever though. They'll market a game like Star Wars Battlefront 2 as a single-player game when in reality, it's a 5-hour mediocre story, which is really just solely there for advertising. I can't say the future is doomed for sure, but looking at it now, unless EA smartens up, we're going to keep getting Battlefront-like experiences. EA has chosen to this current day not to invest on single-player games, and for a franchise like Star Wars, that's a shame. Disney, hopefully when 2023 comes around, will reevaluate how they view games and let maybe a respected publisher take hold of the Star Wars license, because halfway into this deal with EA, it's become clear to a lot of consumers that EA does not care to deliver a rememberable experience. They only care to make as much money as they can, even if it's anti-consumer and predatory. The truth is, entering into 2018, there is a higher chance of us getting Half-Life 3 before we get a pro-consumer single-player focused Star Wars title from Electronic Arts. The future is bleak, and unless something changes, there's very little to get excited for. Anyway guys, what do you think of EA's upcoming Star Wars games? Let me know in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to like the video if you did enjoy or found any informative value, and consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.